this week's statistics revealed through Freedom of Information have shown that young Scots are being shockingly failed by this SNP government. All over Scotland, there are children and young people at crisis point in desperate need of mental health support, waiting not just months, but years for treatment. One young person in NHS Lothian was forced to wait 6 years. 6 years for mental health treatment. That is scandalous. Why on John Swinney's watch are people's sons or daughters, nieces or nephews waiting 6 years to get the treatment they need?
First Minister.
Sir, obviously I'm very happy to address the particular case that Mr Sarwar raises with me today, and to say in general that, and he knows this from my previous answers, that we are working to reduce waiting times for access to treatment for individuals across the health service in Scotland, and we are making progress in a number of areas in relation to that objective. He will also know that the Government has delivered increased investment in mental health support to expand capacity to meet the developing needs that there are amongst young people in Scotland. And I want to make sure that our investments are well targeted to address the issues that Mr Sarwar has put in place. That's why we increased the funding for mental health support, and that's why we're putting in place the assistance that we're putting in place around the country.
Anas Sarwar.
Presiding Officer, the situation is so bad that in today's Daily Record, Rod Stewart has offered to step in and pay for a young Scot to access the care he needs. And the SNP claim they're meeting their target for 90% of children and young people to start mental health treatment within 18 weeks. But we can reveal that they are fudging the numbers and things are much worse than they're letting on. Some health boards are now counting an initial assessment as treatment, when in fact young people may still be waiting for months or years for their actual treatment to start. And now they're removing autism and ADHD diagnosis from CAMHS waiting lists. The SNP are fiddling the figures. Why does John Swinney think it's acceptable to mislead the public when it comes to our young people and their mental health treatment?
First Minister.
Well, that's not what we're doing. And what we are doing is we are focusing on making sure that support is in place in communities the length and breadth of the country. Now, it's often the case that CAMHS is simply not the correct service for children seeking a diagnosis for a neurodevelopmental condition like autism or ADHD, unless they have a coexisting mental health condition. And that's the key point that I need to get across to reassure parents who will be anxious about the issues that Mr Sarwar raises. Now, as he knows, we have made progress in the CAMHS waiting list in the last year. The overall CAMHS waiting list decreased by 20.9% in the previous year, and that has continued in the latest quarter. So the Government will be focused on making sure that the support that is necessary for individual young people is available to them, and the right pathway is put in place to meet the needs of every young person in Scotland today. That's the commitment I give to Parliament today. That's what is the foundation of the Government's approach in this respect.
Anas Sarwar.
Let's talk about one of the parents. Michael Gregori is a father from Dumfries. His son Iain was one when a health worker told him that Iain could be autistic and recommended an NHS diagnosis. 3 years on, Iain is still non-verbal and is still waiting on a diagnosis. Michael was a member of the SNP and campaigned for them to be in government. He told me that they should now hang their heads in shame as they've let Scotland down. And when speaking of his son, he said, "Everyone's saying Iain needs this diagnosis. He's autistic. Everyone's sure of it, but at the same time he needs an official diagnosis to get the resources he needs." Rod Stewart heard this heartbreaking story and has stepped in to pay for Iain's diagnosis. Others won't be as lucky. Why on John Swinney's watch do young Scots have to rely on the charity of a rock star to get the treatment they need?
First Minister.
It's not the case that a diagnosis is necessary for young people to get support. It's absolutely critical that I make that. It is absolutely critical that I make that point to Parliament today, because there are other pathways that are available other than diagnosis for ADHD or a neurodiversity condition, which enables young people to attract the support that will assist them in meeting the challenges that they face. So it is vital that I convey that message at First Minister's questions today, so that parents can be reassured that there is support available to meet the needs of individual young people. The Government is taking a range of interventions where we are expanding mental health support, we are supporting the development of community interventions, and we are working to make sure that young people get the support at the earliest possible opportunity. And there are a variety of pathways that enable that to be the case, and that will continue to be the focus of ministers to deliver the services that young people need in our country.